Alec Baldwin has spoken out on his involvement in a fatal shooting, but did his body language say more than his words? On October 21st, tragedy struck on the set of the film Rust, being shot on location at New Mexico's Bonanza Creek Ranch. According to initial reports, a gun fired by Baldwin during rehearsal discharged a live projectile in the direction of crew members, resulting in the death of cinematographer Halyna Hutchins and the injury of director Joel Souza. The shooting has raised a number of questions, from the nature of the projectile and the gun to the reported presence of live rounds on the film set, as well as who is ultimately responsible for the tragedy. Baldwin also raised new questions with a new claim during his December 2nd interview with ABC's George Stephanopoulos.
It wasn't in the script for the trigger to be pulled.
Well, the trigger wasn't pulled. I didn't pull the trigger.
So you never pulled the trigger?
No.
Of course, speech is just one way for a person to convey information if you know what you're looking for. As such, there's much more to this interview than just Baldwin's words. The actor's body language had a lot to reveal as well. To learn more about Alec Baldwin's body language during his ABC interview, Looper got in touch with body language expert Allison Henderson from Moving Image Consulting. What she had to say about Baldwin's behavior during the interview was quite interesting. First and foremost, she mentions that it's important to keep in mind that Baldwin is an actor, meaning there were fewer visual tells to work off of than there would be for someone with a different career. But just because he's used to controlling his appearance in front of a camera doesn't mean that he's immune from betraying his feelings through body language. Starting at the top, Henderson says, at the beginning of the interview, Baldwin was less comfortable and exhibited some holding behavior. As evidence, she cites the way Baldwin sits while keeping his hands on his knees or lacing his fingers together. But the most interesting thing about the actor's body language was his eyes and how he used them. According to the expert, the most striking moments were when Mr. Baldwin looked George Stephanopoulos in the eyes and when he didn't. Eye contact, Henderson says, implies honesty, meaning that Baldwin appeared truthful when he referred to Hutchins as a fantastic person. He also appeared truthful when he recounted his memory of how the gun went off.
And I cocked the gun, I go, can you see that? Can you see that? Can you see that? And she says, and then I let go of the hammer of the gun and the gun goes off.
On the other hand, the actor's choice to drop eye contact when claiming he didn't observe any safety or security issues on set, as well as his denial that he feels guilty about the situation, indicates there may be more to the story on those specific points.
Were costs being cut at the expense of safety and security?
In my opinion, no, because I did not observe any safety or security issues at all in the time I was there.
The intention behind Baldwin's big interview seemed to be to set the record straight, but for many viewers, a question remains. Was he being honest throughout this interview? According to Henderson, the answer is a bit more complex than a simple yes or no. As Henderson points out, Baldwin is an actor and an extremely seasoned interview guest. As such, he was very much facing this issue on his home turf and came into the interview prepared. The expert summed up the situation by saying, everyone wants to know if Alec is lying. Overall, there was nothing which stood out as a major red flag. However, Alec was also carefully controlling the narrative by bringing up the feeling on set, multiple references to his family, etc. He stuck to his script and his performance. It makes sense that Baldwin would want to maintain control in what was possibly the most important interview of his career, especially when the first interview he gave about the subject was a more volatile affair. On October 21st, Baldwin shared details about the Rust shooting in a roadside interview with a group of paparazzi in Manchester, Vermont. In the statements he gave back then, he mentioned his interest in doing what he could to help improve gun safety on film sets, and mentioned that he'd been in touch with Hutchins' family. Both points that he repeated in the new interview with ABC. He also told the photographers, I've been ordered by the Sheriff's Department in Santa Fe. I can't answer any questions about the investigation. I can't. It's an active investigation. Baldwin may have shared more information with his interview, but the central question of who is responsible for the shooting remains unresolved.
Someone is responsible for what happened, and I can't say who that is, but I know it's not me.
Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Looper videos about the latest breaking news stories are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.